the 17th century, the Cabots came to Massachusetts, first arriving in Salem. Following the death of Joseph Cabot in 1768, his wife, Elizabeth Higginson, and 8 out of their 9 children moved to Beverly. Out of all the children, 3 became most famous for their involvement with the Essex County and the state of Massachusetts. They were George Cabot, known for being U.S. Senator of Massachusetts from 1791 to 1796. Andrew Cabot, whose former residence is now the Beverly City Hall. And John Cabot, who had a joint business with Andrew and made a name for himself in privateering. John Cabot was born in 1745 in Salem. He was 23 years old when he moved to Beverly. He was one of the most well-known ship owners in the Essex County. Most of his success came from trade and businesses made with his brothers Andrew and George. But it mostly came from being a privateer. A privateer is a ship owner that privately owns and crews his own ship, but is authorized by the government to attack enemy ships during war. In 1781, his house was built for him where he resided until 1802. The Cabot family was the most important and well-known family in Beverly during the late 18th century because they were extremely wealthy and were involved a lot with the city of Beverly and helped shape architecture and social living in Essex County. The Cabots were a part of an elite group of families famously called the Boston Brahmins. Boston Brahmin was a term used in the 18th and 19th centuries that referred to Boston families that were considered extremely wealthy and elite members of society. Some other notable families in this group are the Adams, the Gardners, the Peabodys, the Quinceys, the Sears, and the Winthrops. The Cabot House was the first ever brick structure built in the city of Beverly. The house is a Georgian-style home, and Georgian-style was a very new type of home design. It was adapted from homes that were being built over in England. After the war had ended, Salem and Beverly Maritime was doing extremely well. John Cabot and Elias Haskett Derby were some of the main reasons for this great period. Cabot's ship, the Buccaneer, was the first American vessel to land and trade in St. Petersburg, Russia. His success, he was able to bring Salem and Beverly out of their brief post-war depression and bring them straight into what is now known as Beverly and Salem's Golden Age. After this period, John Cabot was known as the Merchant Prince. By 1780, Andrew and John Cabot had one of the most prosperous mercantile enterprises in Massachusetts. They had shares in at least 40 vessels and controlled at least 2/3 of the total cargo being shipped in and out of Beverly ports. Cabot had a lot to do with the maritime world, but he was also a very public figure in the city of Beverly. He was a representative for Beverly in the Massachusetts legislature in 1792 and was offered to be a representative for Massachusetts in the U.S. Congress, but declined. He also had many shares in Beverly's most famous landmarks. He and his brothers, George and Andrew, purchased 5 acres in North Beverly and constructed the Beverly Cotton Mill, which was the first ever cotton manufactory in America. Cabot was one of the managers of the mill and was one of the largest shareholders. Along with the cotton mill, he was also a large shareholder in the Essex Bridge, which connects Salem to Beverly. The bridge is still used till this day. In 1802, Cabot sold his house to the Beverly Bank ownership. His house was the first site of the bank, which is the 10th oldest bank in America. Even though Cabot had sold the house, he was still very active with the business of the bank. He was one of the first 7 directors. When the bank decided to sell the site, a man by the name of Edward Burley purchased the home in 1834. Because he and his wife had no children, they gave the home to the Beverly Historical Society in 1891, and it is now the site of the Society's headquarters. Cabot died on August 28, in 1821 at the age of 76. He will be remembered as a merchant prince and being a part of one of the most wealthy and well-known families in Essex County.